Hey everybody, welcome to the Combat Chain, some live Flesh and Blood Team League action for you today. I am your host, Adam Philipchuk, alongside Pat Shaw. And today we've got Donghee Kim of West Coast Best Coast taking on Tyler Kennedy of Indy Arsenal. This is the first match in the series, and I'm quite excited for it. What about you, Pat?
I am as well. Indy Arsenal is a good team featuring Michael Hamilton on board. Donghee Kim had a good game last week, if I recall.
That was
So
2
exciting to
weeks
see.
ago
Two
there.
weeks, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
But
Donghee did not
excited to
play last
see
week.
some exciting West Coast, Best Coast action.
Yeah, and this is, yeah, like I said, the first game in the series. This is Michael Hamilton's team. So far, we've had, just like West Coast, Best Coast, Indy Arsenal has won a series and lost a series. Let's see here, they took week one, 3 wins to 2 losses, and then they lost week two, a close one as well, 2 wins to 3 losses. Um, and so both teams are definitely going to be looking for redemption this week. And I think at this point too, in week three of we lost Pat's feed there. Hopefully we'll get Pat back in a moment. Hopefully here in week three of or in week three, that yeah, this is when both teams are looking to set them. All the teams are looking to set themselves apart. In our 6 week season, uh, if you can get out of week three, 2-1, you're in a good place to still take second in the league at the end of the season. So yeah, this is a huge week for both teams, and a huge a big team for at least for West Coast Best Coast to play into. Um,
This
we
is this
do
is definitely one of those matchups that try to put you guys on the map here for the division.
exactly, and um, yeah. And to follow up, so we only have one match for you today, but we do have uh, two more matches coming up tomorrow. We do have the Nathan Fortin Michael Hamilton match that will be tomorrow at tomorrow April 13th at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, and
Oh,
then
that's a
we'll
nice time. I like that one.
and then we'll follow that up with Andrew Podleski playing into Michael Trion at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. So that's going to be
Oleski, I
depend.
believe, picking up a skirmish win this weekend, right?
Podleski did pick up a skirmish win this weekend, and yeah, he on Viserai. Yeah, on Viserai.
Yes, I believe he was on Viscera.
Yeah, that was yeah, he played great at the skirmish there. We did have that on the channel. We were able to stream that one
Hmm.
for you guys. And yeah, so I know Andrew's looking to carry on and to put up a big win for West Coast Best Coast tomorrow. Uh, and Nathan as well. Nathan is currently undefeated in the league. So Nathan looking to carry that one on and go 3-0 for his personal record. Our
Hmm.
match
Hmm.
tonight, Donghee as well. He's also undefeated currently, though he did not play last week, like we mentioned earlier. Donghee is up 1-0 for his personal record right now. And let me just have a look here, see.
And you said this is the first match of the series, correct?
This is the first match.
So all heroes are open for this
All
one. Do you have
heroes are
any
open.
without with do you know the heroes? Do you know the heroes
So I
for West
know
Coast?
I know what Donghee's playing. I know what all
All
the
right.
yeah, what all the
Okay. All right.
the West Coast Best
Without
Coast.
giving away the secret sauce, can we expect some spice from West Coast Best Coast this week in terms of hero
Um,
selection?
I'm actually the one who does all the some or not all of I of course I check in with the team and I make sure we're all on the same page with heroes and what position
Hmm.
everybody's playing in. But like for this week, I was the one who went and did all the research and figured out what I was essentially the manager, watching what Indy Arsenal's been doing to.
Oh, you're the scout. You're the scouting director. You got your football. We can I can respect what you're doing. I used to scout for American football. I used to go to the opponents on the off week, write down what they're doing, play sheets, whole 9 yards. I, I've been there. It's a fun time.
It's it's a lot of work, but it's pretty cool.
Hmm.
It's really interesting uh, to go and look at what everybody's up to and to uh, apologies, I'm just setting stuff up with the game room as we chat here. Uh, yeah, it's fun to try to look for the patterns and to try to figure out what you can anticipate somebody to do based on what they've done so far. I know I'm really proud of the hero roster I submitted this week um, because of the sleuthing I did, and I'm curious to see how it'll pan out. Uh,
That is an aspect I don't think I've really taken the time to think about before. But you really are. Not only do you have access to film here, you can go back and watch, and over the season, you can really sink your teeth into tendencies and play styles of your opponents here, and really practice into the person as much as a potential hero.
Yeah, oh, exactly. Go back, watch the game tapes, and
Hmm.
this is flesh and blood as an esport, in my opinion. Like this is the
Hmm.
closest
Hmm.
thing we've had to that, and it's so cool to be a part of it. I think big things are going to come out of Flesh and Blood Team League, and uh, yeah, I I'm so excited for the future of this game and this league. But
Yeah, it's definitely in a good spot.
we do have the players loading in right now, so I'll take you down to the game state here. Uh, Here we are. We've got the game view. And we have, for this match, we've got Tyler Kennedy on Viserai into Donghee on Starvo. So this is going to be. Well, what do you think about this matchup right away, Pat?
Well, the this is very similar to a matchup that we streamed last week. Yeah, I think going into it, I think Starvo again is favored. It's going to be important for Viserai to get their rune chance generated here and try to pop off before Starvo can disrupt the game plan.
Yeah,
Now, what
100%.
is this? Do you recall what hero Donghee played in his first match of the season?
Donghee did play Starvo.
All right, so this will be his second time on Starvo. Would you say that Starvo is his strong suit? Is that a hero that he has specialized in and would prefer to be playing in the league here?
It is 100% in conversations I've had with Donghee. That's kind of his. That's where he feels comfortable right now. He did take Starvo to a. Oh, it appears we've lost the room here. So just a second while we get that fixed for everyone. Um, yeah, Donghee took Starvo to a Pro Quest final, losing to Nathan Fortin in the final, and uh, he's been doing some impressive things with Starvo. He got West Coast an easy win in round one or week one
Hmm.
of the league. Um, Donghee does have a qualification for the Pro Tour, but he unfortunately has told me he's not able to make it to that one due to some work conflicts, which is a shame because I would have been very curious to
Hmm.
see just where he can, how far he can go. Um,
Absolutely, and it's a testament to the league's strength here that we have, high quality players like that playing.
exactly, and Tyler Kennedy. Um, Unfortunately, don't know as much about Tyler Kennedy. I do know Tyler Kennedy has played Viserai in week one of the league as well, and piloting that one to a win. So
Excellent.
he does have some experience on Viserai as far as we can tell. So I
Hmm.
imagine
Hmm.
this is going to be a tight match.
Now,
Um,
watching some other league games this week, there was a Starvo Viserai matchup with Team Kitchen Fable and the card guy Namvo of the card guys, I believe, and Chad's kitchen table list had some spice in it in the form of he was definitely going OTK for his game plan, but uh, several Revel and Rune Bloods were shown in the deck along with some other non-attacks that you don't usually see in when you sideboard in against Starvo. Um, I'm wondering as the league progresses and these matchups start to become familiar, that the evolution of these decks can kind of be seen in real time, and maybe there's there's some card selection choices here that will definitely throw your opponent off. There's a they definitely might be expecting to see one thing like we're talking about Starvo versus Viserai. It's a pretty conventional matchup here. The game plan's pretty straightforward on both sides here, but who can use that conventional wisdom to their advantage and play off their opponent some way to generate a win in ways that they're not expecting. That would be something I'm going to be looking forward to see as the season progresses.
oh yeah, exactly, and that's just the huge cool part about this league is as the league progresses, you get to know your opponents and you get to know how and what the ways people do things so that you can anticipate you can like if you're playing heads up you can pay attention and anticipate and try to react accordingly and even super interestingly like and we've seen different or different teams in the league play into this differently so far like Indy Arsenal for example they've chosen to kind of stick with the same players in the same order for the most part. Whereas teams like, well, I can say for West Coast, Best Coast, we've been trying to actually mix up the order of our players to try to keep our opponent on on their toes and not know what to expect. So it's really interesting to see how some teams are how different teams are choosing to
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, it would definitely be you don't want to give a you don't want to identify someone as your ace pitcher in somewhat in a hierarchy and then have them come through every week as one, two, three, four, and five. They'll kind of you know we speak of season long tendencies. That would definitely be one of those tells there where if you had Yuki game one every week. I might tell everybody where she lands in the pecking order here.
Yes, exactly. And I find it, and to that point, I find it interesting that Indy Arsenal, on the other hand, has chosen to kind of play into that. Into, for example, Michael Hamilton has been in that first slot every week so far, week one, two, and three. Ben Hannon has been in the second slot week 1, 2, and 3. They have been mixing things up with the bottom three, and I think that's their kind of wild card slots. But they've been very, I don't want to say predictable, but they've kind of developed a pattern so far, and
Yeah, and
it's
there's
interesting.
definitely there's definitely pros and cons to that, right? If you can develop patterns and then like I said, exploit the recognition of those patterns, that's definitely something that you can you can use to your benefit in one way or another.
Exactly. And apologies, I lost my train of thought there. Uh, we see the players are
That's all
just
right.
about to get started here, so that's a fine time to lose my train of thought. Once again, we've got Donghee on the right on Starvo, Tyler Kennedy on the left on Viserai, and apologies, we missed the dice roll here, so we just got to wait and see who's going first. And it looks like we've got the Viserai going first, starting off with a
They
Sonata.
That's good. Early Sonata is definitely something you don't want to. You're not going to arsenal it. You're not going to go off right now. Best thing you can do is let it, sculpt your hand a little bit. It looks like that's basically what's happening here. He's going to Sonata. Uh, he's going to filter out a little bit. He's going to put these cards in his hand. He might pitch some more over to grasp to really get something going. But just generate rune chants, clear out your hand, and see what you can do.
Yeah, and we do see the Viserai is coming in with a off the Sonata, a red meet and greet, making one rune chant off of Viserai here. And Donghee has chosen to take the Sonata damage. He took 2 arcane. So
So
this meet and
that's
greet does have go again.
yeah, and this is really kind of best case scenario for the Viserai. Any amount of life away from 40 is only going to benefit him because as the smaller Starvo's life total is going to get, the less rune chance that he needs to generate to present lethal, and the less time he needs to get to where he wants to go.
Exactly. Um, and that's a big thing with this matchup is like Starvo can have these huge oppressive turns, and you really need to try to chip in as much damage as you can, as quick as you can in that early game to maybe try to chip him down. Now there is now to even as I say that though, there is the counter argument that you go full OTK in this matchup, and it's going to be interesting to see if now we do see Tyler is on Grasp and is on Sutcliffe Suede Hide, so that actually leans me to be inclined that maybe Tyler is taking advantage of having some tempo here to chip in some early damage and is possibly going to switch to an OTK plan at some point during this game.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Viserai in particular in the early game is one of those heroes where you're evaluating your hand as it's drawn and determining its path. Early on, your early game is going to be your best bet to um, try to get try to get that chunk damage through a tempo game plan. Um, because if your hand is not presenting that kind of rune chant generation, then it's not going to happen. And here comes the Spellblade Assault, create with a rune chant creating 3 on the
3 on the
back
back
end.
end.
And really, this is a great turn for Viserai. He's got damage. Starvo's down to 36. He's got 3 rune chants. He is missing an arsenal, but right now I think that's perfectly okay.
Yeah, to be coming out of that first turn, yeah, like you said, with the rune chance and the damage dealt, that's huge. We do see coming back though, Donghee is coming in with an Oakenold fuse now. So this is going to be 9 dominate. We did not have the Starvo activation beforehand, so there
That's
is
right.
we don't get that +2 and go again. Um, but you know what? Even at that, just do you call this a hard casted Oakenold or just a plain fused
Yeah, this
Oakenold?
is just an old fashioned, right? Just an
An
old
old,
fashioned Oakenold.
a good old fashioned oak.
I think
Uh,
you got your casual oak, which is no fuse. Then you got your old fashioned oak, which is just single fused, and then you've got your super hard oak, which is your double fused.
yeah, exactly. So this is already putting Tyler into a an interesting position. I mean, Tyler's still it's still early in the game. Tyler's still got 40 life.
Hmm.
He's got lots of options for how he wants to deal with this, and it really comes down to what's in his hand. But it's
Yep.
the fact that Donghee is already applying that pressure. That's the hard part. And if Donghee can kind of keep in a position where he can keep his foot on the gas throughout this entire game, it's going to be tough for Tyler to come back for this.
And
So we see,
Tyler single blocks is taking 6, I believe. Yeah, 6 down to 34. 2 cards are being put at random on the bottom of his deck. He's left with 1. Um, a solid. This is exactly what Oakenold and Starvo wants to do. So you've severely limited Viscerai's options here moving forward. He does want to constantly be generating rune chance, and short of that being a read the runes, he's not going to get anything out of it this turn.
yeah, and Okanold's always a scary one too because that random card part, you could be trying to hold on to something like a read the runes, and you just can't.
Yeah,
You'll lose it anyway.
you were 100% trying to hold on to right these cards. The crippling crushes in the Oakenhold are so vicious because they have that random aspect to them, and it
Yeah,
just makes that Starville reveal all the more devastating when one of those super cards just come out after that fuse.
yeah.
Zedong He with a
So
Tome of Harvest
yeah,
talking
so
about spice.
So yeah, we did see Tyler Kennedy Arsenal on his turn drop and pass back to Donghee here. Donghee no Starvo activation at the start of his turn, but he is opening up with a Tome of Harvest, tucking his Arsenal to the bottom of his deck, drawing 3 cards, and we're going to see that played into a Crippling Crush. So this is going to be just a good old fashioned Crippling Crush.
Yep, this
11,
we call this a gentleman's crippling crush
a Gentleman's
in
Crush.
Starvo.
And this is going to be 11. And if 4 or more damage gets dealt, Tyler will have to discard 2 cards at random. So
Easy
once
block
again,
here, I think.
yeah, no, the no dominate when you're on the OTK plan does make it for an easy block because really if you've got a become in your arsenal and you have a read the runes in hand, you're happy to just make a few rune chants here,
Hmm.
throw the rest
Yep.
of your hand at this. Mind you, this might require 3 cards. This is 11, assuming what 3, 6. Yeah, so you're
Yep,
thinking
it's
about
definitely
a
a 3 card block.
so that turns
Definitely
off.
not. So way too early to use equipment here. So I think that this is preservation of life, and evaluating rune chant generation at that point. Yeah. You're either, unless there's something super good there, and you want to risk 2 cards, then and take the 11 and keep a 2 card hand in an arsenal for the sake of rune chant generation. You really got to love all 4 of those cards in order to make that happen.
Yeah, yeah. You'd have to in hand have some, and even if you've got something like a double Mordred, I don't even
Yeah, that's
know.
where if you have a Mordred and Arsenal and a bunch of non-attacks, it's basically the only scenario there.
Yeah, exactly. So we see Tyler's thinking long and hard about his block here. I think Tyler's making sure
In the tank.
he in the tank, but you know what? Sometimes you
Oof.
just gotta. And we do see,
Oh, oh no. Oh, oh, oh. Well, now that's definitely a Mordred.
yeah,
Oh man. All right. So we see Tyler block with a Become the Arc Knight, ninth blade, Skull Cap, Skeletor,
and
and
grasp.
Grasp. Six. That is that a bit of an overblock?
This is a block for 12. So possibly
I
playing
suppose
around the pummel
he's
here,
yes, right, respecting the pummel. Interesting.
because Donghee was representing that 2 resources up there. So Donghee's going to opt to Arsenal here, pass it
Now,
off to
are
Tyler.
you is there a deck list requirement here? Can you tell me? So he just played around the pummel.
I
Is there a
do
pummel?
not know if there is a pummel in the list or not.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Uh,
But Tyler does play with Michael Hamilton, who is a Guardian expert. So uh, I'm sure that he has some experience playing into it, and it showed here. So either he's paranoid, or Dong, he's put the fear of God in him. It very I don't know if I agree with that. If I think I would have rather taken the 11 and kept my full hand at that point, instead of lose my equipment like that.
well, we'll see what Tyler follows up with here, because if Tyler does have something like oh god,
He did flip a Mordred Tide, so he's got at least that going on there.
yeah,
So
like a double
if he can,
Mordred read the runes, that would be
that would be pretty spicy.
an obscene, like into a red read, that'd be 5, 6, 7, 8 rune chance generated here, so that'd take him up to 11 off of a 3 card hand. That'd be pretty good. We see Tyler Kennedy thinking here. No, he's going to play the Mordred into a
It's
Become the
Mordred.
Arcanite. So this
Oh,
is going to
he's
make
gonna
2 rune chance up to 5.
go get a read runes.
And then the red read the runes is going to come in to make another, assuming it's a red read the runes he's going to grab here. That's going to make another uh, 4, 5, 6.
Six. Yeah, six.
I gotta imagine. I don't imagine he's grabbing a Sonata yet. That's too soon.
At five, yeah, definitely. Having the suede hides there tells you a lot about the game plan. It's just
Yeah.
not really uh it's not really conceivable in Classic Constructed to have the suede hides in a game plan outside of OTK. The creepers is just too valuable in a tempo based plan. If he was going to grab something else, or try to have a curveball of some sort here, this is going to be pretty rank and file from here on out.
Yep. So see Donghee before the end of Tyler's turn, activating the Crown of Seeds, probably looking for that fuse card. Doesn't look like he's able to find it though. We're gonna see a Spinal Crush. And this is just a good old fashioned Spinal Crush. This is going to be for 9 and on Crush, so 4 more damage dealt. Um,
No go
Actions
again.
will no go again
Yeah.
on anything, no on non-attack actions or equipment activations or anything. So
Yeah.
this is always one that I think this is a good one to play into Runeblood, because Runeblood wants to go wide. Runeblood wants to, or Runeblade, my apologies, wants to go wide. Runeblade wants to, especially Viscera, wants to play
Yeah.
a flurry of attack and
Multiple.
non-attack actions.
Yeah.
So
Even OTK. If you think about, so here, OTK Viscera doesn't seem like it's doing a ton. But if you think about that rune chain generation as kind of a deferred payment plan on attacks, those cards are really, you're still going wide in a different form, right? So if you're chaining non-attacks together and generating rune chants, you're storing that potential attack energy in something else, but you still want to be able to chain those together. And Spinal Crush definitely hinders your ability to play more. If you can't play more than a single non-attack action on a given turn, that really hinders your ability to store up that potential, rune chant energy.
Yep, exactly.
Hashtag science.
Is that a scientific fact?
Yeah, kinetic versus potential energy. Storing the potential energy. I think Team Covenant was talking earlier today about Viscerai being able to drop the spirit bomb. That was their metaphor for it, but it's all the same, right? You're T'Challa in the Black Panther suit, absorbing all that physical impact. You're ready to just have this one massive just explosion of power going through that. So if you think of all your red zero non-attacks as 3 and 4 damage attacks just delayed, you're really just stacking up. You might you might Sonata for 14 and put 7, but if you add those rune chants on there, you played 10 to 15 cards before then. That all translates into damage output in the long run. You just it's a roundabout way to get back to to what you would have done if those were just attacks throughout the game.
It's just a flesh and blood is just a big old science experiment.
It is. It's
Uh,
just math. It's weird how math it is. It is super mathy.
oh, it is very mathy. So we see on Donghee's turn here, playing the Winter's Bite, forcing a card out of Tyler's hand, and Tyler choosing to discard, or sorry, to pitch a Dread Triptych. So still floating two
Hmm,
on
hmm.
Tyler's end. And we see Donghee coming out of his Winter's Bite into a uh, is that a red? That's a blue Heaven's Claws. So this is going to be coming in for three. Looks like Donghee's maybe drawing some brick hands here, eh, Pat?
Yeah, is he blizzarding on his own turn? Is that what I
Looks
see
like
there?
it.
That's
Which
the
he can target his
sometimes,
own
right?
Heaven's Claws here with it.
Sometimes you gotta make chicken salad out of less than chicken salad quality ingredients. And
And you know what?
sometimes that means playing the blizzard to get it out of your hand.
And you know what though? That's probably we'll see kind of where this game ends up going, but that might have even been kind of a heads up play that Donghee recognizing that he's not gonna like holding on to that blizzard until it's relevant might be detrimental to his game plan, and just like
Hmm.
getting rid of it might be the better play.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you're Starvo is super susceptible to bad hands, and the more that you can churn through that, the better. It's pretty standard to crown a seeds, your arsenal away, be able to pitch a card, and see a few cards doing that. But you really don't want to be stuck with a two and three card hand because you can't do anything with those cards. So any way you can to dump those out, whether it's blocking, and so normally you'd probably just dump those to block, but Viserai doesn't want to. Oh, we got a free. This is a free Sonata. Got excited there. I was like, 12 seems early.
Well, especially with the Starvo still at 36 here.
I,
But you
I
know
think
what?
they're both in a bit of a pickle right now. I think neither one is really seeing the cards they want to see right now. And it's making life difficult for both of those guys. So, Tyler, this is Sonata number 2.
This is Sonata number
Now,
two.
he's going to have to get to Sonata number 3. And his deck just got shuffled. And unless that's sitting there in his hand and he's about to arsenal it, um,
Might be a
you
while
know,
before
we're,
he finds it.
yeah, he's going to be at variances beck and call here for the rest of the game, hoping to get to his win con, or become the Arc Knight and tutor it out like an intelligent person would. But we see a crown. But I think what is dangerous for Donghee here is that Tyler's life total is at 33 and he's at 12 rune chance. Uh, Tyler's going to try and get to 20 plus, and if he can get a Mordred on the board, that can be done earlier. Donghee's also at 35 and not 40. So that's another bad move there. The longer Viserai sticks around undisrupted and is able to generate rune chants, the easier life is going to be for Viserai. And we have here a command and conquer play after a crown um, coming into Viserai.
Yeah, so this is coming in for 6. Defense reactions can't be played here, and on
Mm-hmm.
hit, this will destroy the arsenal. So if Tyler just arsenaled something like a reduced to rune chance or an unmovable, this feels a little bad. But it looks like Tyler's considering a block out of hand here. So he's throwing a Dread Triptych and a Spellblade Assault at this. He's gonna block for 6. Oh, and we have a pummel, a
Oh
yellow pummel.
no, the pummel.
I believe that's a yellow pummel. That is a yellow pummel. So this is getting an additional +3. And this is going to force, yeah, we
Oh,
see an
he
unmovable out of the
lost the
arsenal.
unmovable. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. Well, he was right to respect the pummel. Did not see it coming on the command and conquer.
And I always find it interesting to see yellow pummel get played because that's
You know what
outside
that
of
is?
what's
Spicy.
that? That
That's
is
that's
spicy.
Cajun. That's Cajun right there.
So we see Tyler on his turn. He's just going to arsenal and pass back. Donghee getting a good little bit of tempo out of that one. And we see Donghee following up with a Spinal Crush. This is a gentleman's Spinal Crush 9. Uh, no go again, no
Yes,
dominate.
I love it.
We
It
do
is.
have
It
a
is in fact a gentleman's spinal crush.
we do have the pummel still being threatened here. Donghee got one floating, but he's got the tunic active as well.
Ah,
So
yes. Yep. And now he's got it right now. It is in his head. That might have been the only pummel in his deck, but for the rest of the game, he's got to think, well, what if he's got it?
exactly. Oh, and we see the sink below.
Yep. We have the defense reaction. He will sink.
Donghee is hovering over his card here. I wonder if he does have the pummel here.
But now he's got it. That's part of the gamesmanship. And even if he doesn't have it, now he's got to threaten it, right? You don't respect it if you don't act like if you don't act like you have it.
Yeah, but I
So
can
what
always
do we got
appreciate
here?
when
This is
you
a 6 block, right? 6 block,
yeah
2 and 4
to
for
9.
6, taking 3. Crush denied, arsenaled.
And we're gonna see a read the runes. Is that a red read? It is a red read, so making an additional 3 rune
It
chance up
is.
to 15. And we're going to see that followed up by
Another.
another command and conquer on Donghee's turn. Once
I
again,
wonder if
Donghee.
Tyler is having flashbacks to playtesting right now. This feels very uh, Hamilton Guardian-esque right now, and it can't be a good feeling to know that Tyler probably was like, all right, well, at least I don't have to go against two-time calling champion Michael Hamilton in his beastly Guardian builds, and
And
then
there we go.
Donghee.
We have
Oh
another.
no! Oh no! They're coming out of the woodwork at him.
Oh, that's got to feel bad
Oh, and he
for
had the
Tyler.
defense reaction in Arsenal.
It looks like Donghee so far has made a good meta call for this match.
Another read the reins. Hey, and he's still trekking. That is that 3 pummels so far?
That is 3 pummels. We've seen.
Two reds and a yellow, I believe.
No, that's 2 pummels, I believe we've seen so far. A yellow and a
Yeah,
red.
you know what? I think he threatened just the fear of 2 more.
So this is probably a pretty timely Channel Lake Frigid. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this is right around when Tyler's probably thinking about trying to pop off at 17 rune chance. At 17 rune chance, he still gets to see 10 cards off his Sonata.
Mm-hmm. And he definitely with cards with he's got 5 cards right now. That's a great block
You got to wonder.
Very
We see
timely, keeping
the
4
frost.
cards in hand.
See the Channel Lake Frigid followed up by a Frosty Whale with
Hmm.
Tyler Kennedy reducing to Rune Chant, blocking for 4. And it looks like Donghee's taking a moment to think here. Does Donghee have a pummel right now? Is he trying to decide if it's worth it?
Another pummel.
I mean, this would then, on top of the Channel Lake Frigid, add in a Frostbite. This is,
He's thinking about it. I don't
he
know if
is.
I don't know if you. I suppose that, yeah, right. If he frostbites here, everything's going to cost. Well, the first thing's going to cost 2 more. Definitely stop Skelta. We don't see it. He still got the card in arsenal.
So now I'm really wondering if Donghee has got another pummel floating around either in hand or in arsenal. So we're gonna see a
It's an
red root and
incantation.
blood incantation, guaranteeing another 3 rune chance over the next 3 turns for Tyler, 1 at the start of each turn. And I think Tyler is just going to be biding his time now, waiting for that Channel Lake Frigid to go away. You got to wonder,
Yep,
did he
this is
find?
smart move.
Has he found the Sonata yet already? Is it sitting in Arsenal?
That's the hope. He's got so he will see with the incantation, he will see 21 rune chants, and that will be you'll be fair game right now to pop off once he gets there. So it really is a purely defensive plan waiting for that Sonata from here on out, and see how far he can go.
But he's still sitting at 20 life. He's still got a bit of wiggle room to kind of absorb a big hit and be able to pop off with that big turn he might need. We see no Starvo activation at the beginning of Donghee's turn. Donghee coming into a clean crippling crush. This is going to be 11. And does Donghee?
Hmm.
Donghee does not have 2 ice cards in his pitch zone, so the Channel Lake Frigid will not be sticking around for another turn.
He does have 2 float and a card in arsenal, though.
And the fact that he did not choose to try to dig for that second ice card tells me that Donghee
Hmm.
does have the pummel in Arsenal and he wants to hold on to it. There it is,
Oh,
the red
there it
pummel.
is! Another
Wolf
one!
just going to try to pummel Tyler into the ground. Tyler taking 6 here, discarding another unmovable. And Donghee got to be pretty happy with that. He's got Tyler down to 14. Tyler's already used up a good chunk of his equipment. And he's just going to be passing the turn back to Donghee again. Let's see if we get the Starvo activation this turn. I don't believe Donghee's had a single Starvo activation yet this game. So we do see a Channel Lake
You are
Frigid.
correct.
Oh, that's another timely Channel Lake Frigid. So I imagine we're just going to see this go into a Winter's Whale. Donghee just probably thinking about some pitches right now. And we see another Command and
Wow, the
Conquer.
third
That's
Command
the
and
third
Conquer
Command
this
and
game.
Conquer.
Donghee has been consistently ripping cards out of Viserai's hand.
And this is why Starvo is as strong as Starvo is. Starvo can just, like, with the card pool he's got access to and the quality of cards he can play out of, he can just thread in turn after turn after turn and essentially give the opponent a non game. Like, Tyler's starting to get to that point where if he can't pull it out in the next turn or two, he might not get the opportunity he needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't go off with you when you have nothing in hand. Chad says too many pummels.
I saw
Can you
that.
really have can you really have too many?
So we see this getting blocked for 6. I think Tyler recognizing here that he needs to preserve life right now. He's got to wait till his opportunity can come to really try to pivot here. That Channel Lake Frigid's going to stick around for another turn because we do see the ice card in the pitch zone. The
You gotta
blue ice
imagine
encounter.
Tyler's got to be puckering up a little bit here. The game was pretty, I would call it pretty even early on. It didn't seem like Donghee was finding what he wanted after the initial Oakenold. Still some classic Guardian attacks, but didn't seem like either player was finding the cards that they wanted. And then Donghee has just been relentlessly pummeling. I believe that's the third crippling crush as
That is the
well
third
coming
crippling
through.
crush. Yeah, so on Tyler's turn, we did see him play the red reed to runes, going up to 23 rune chance, three off the reed, one off the rune blood incantation. We are back into Donghee's turn. Donghee did not have the Starvo activation, but he has another crippling crush, the third crippling crush of the deck now. This is another 11, threatening a crush on four or more, and threatening to discard two cards at random.
It says something to Starvo's power too when he's had uh zero or close to Starvo activations. This has really just been good old fashioned, Bravo gameplay. Just classic disruptive hits with crush effects, boosted by pummels. I have not seen a lot of lightning cards besides for the errant Heaven's Claw. I feel like this is probably one of the more defensive Starvo builds where likely just designed to get your activation once or twice late game. I believe we're coming up to that point now, so we'll likely see uh, if Starvo's gonna win in sound fashion, I imagine we'll see a inactivation coming up sooner than later. It'll really put the exclamation point on this game so far.
Yeah, yeah, and this crippling crush is. I'm
It's
curious to
really
see.
it's really brutal. I mean, it really is.
It is.
These on hits are like they're not supported by a Starvo activation. It would just be that much worse. The game would have been over, is really by now. If these were dominated +2 with a second attack, I don't think we'd still be here right now. Um, I think he would have Viscerai would have had to popped off at probably 2 or 3 turns ago just to stay alive and see what he could muster. And now it's a struggle. It does put that 35 damage matters. That 35 life total does matter. 23 rune chance is a lot. If he is sitting anywhere on Sonata, this game is not over. And staying in double digits, for Tyler to stay on double digits, life is super important. And it's the downside of the Starvo when he can play. I don't know if you'd call it more fair, but like I said, this has been classic Guardian action and not necessarily what you'd expect from Starvo. Um, but what it does do is keep Tyler in the game longer than he probably expected to be at this point.
Yeah, so we go to the start of Tyler's turn here. Looks like Donghee is already gonna crown a seeds here. Um, and because Tyler's trying to pass to the end of his turn. That makes sense. So Tyler passing to the end of his turn at 24 rune chance. Donghee. Oh, there we go. We do have the Starbo activation here.
Here we go. We got a lightning surge, polar blast, and a break ground.
And we're gonna see that. We don't know what. There's one card in Donghee's hand. We still don't know what it is.
Tell you what, if that's an Oakenold.
Oh, it's a Winter's Bite. So we're gonna try to strip a card out of Tyler's hand to begin with here.
That was his second ice card, so likely coming in. I didn't catch the lightning surge there, if that was a blue one,
I
but if
believe
he
it
wants
was.
to
I believe
follow
they
up,
only run the blue Lightning Surge currently.
oh, we have a
So
pitch. Yep, floating one. So here comes a break ground for, is that 7 or 9?
let me check in here. That's a red break ground, so that'll be 9 go again dominate.
If it wasn't at 12, his life total does matter now. At 9 is 9 is a large percentage of his life total now. So he's got to think about his blocks here. Yep, this is where you throw your armor in.
Now I'm surprised to throw both pieces of armor at this though, and not maybe save one for the Winter's Whale, because that frostbite's gonna hurt if you're trying to go off here.
Might have a reduce.
Oh,
Oh,
I see.
does not.
Just looking to block it full out. That makes sense. So it looks like at this point, Donghee's got full tempo again.
Yeah, he's in a pretty great place. If that's a
See,
Sonata, it looks like
Tyler
he's
just,
about to
yeah,
just
drawing up
draw.
here.
Oh,
And we're going to get another Starbo activation. We got the Pulse and a Blink. Pulse of Eisenloft, that is.
and here we go. Right, late game Starvo activations to close it out. This is what we're talking about.
We're going to see a Spinal Crush. This is going to be 11 Go Again Dominate.
So brutal.
Oh, unfortunately, Donghee having to pitch away the Pulse of Eisenloft there. That's, oh, and a timely
Unmovable
unmovable.
from hand. So it's still 7. Crush is still in effect, I believe.
It is. We're going to follow that up with a Frosty Whale for 4. And Tyler just easy full blocking that one out. So now we got to wonder what's in Tyler's arsenal. Does Tyler maybe
Must
have the clutch Sonata that he's going to go for here, or no? He's going to choose
I
to draw back up. So
no. I
he is
wonder if it's a
fully
Mordred.
on the back foot, and we see another Starbo activation.
Oh,
Oh,
oh man.
not what Tyler wants to see. I got to imagine Tyler's just shaking his head at this point.
He might have to lose his skeleton to stay alive here.
So is that a blue evergreen? That is a blue evergreen. So that's going to be 7 Go Again Dominate.
He's likely. I mean, I think he has to give up the Skeleton unless he's got
And
a D-react from hand just to stay alive. He's going to have a 3 block from hand plus equipment, unless that's I doubt that that's a reduced to Runechan or something in Arsenal.
this is
And
a
if he
tough
loses Skeleton, well,
this is a tough spot for Tyler to be in right now. Very tough spot for Tyler.
any defensive reaction would be phenomenal right now.
Yeah, just to deal with the breakpoint damage.
Uh-huh.
So we see a Mordred and Scalata block.
Yep.
This is going to take Tyler to 1, I believe. Now anything is lethal at this point. We see another Frosty Whale.
That's going to take 2 cards out.
Unless once again he's got a reduce. Yeah, and there we go. 2 cards out of Tyler's hand. Tyler does have a card in hand and a card in arsenal still. However, does not have Blood Sheath anymore. The engine that
Nope.
can really pop off on Sonata is gone. Looks like Donghee's gonna Crown of Seeds before the end of Tyler's turn here. And if we see a Starvo activation here, that's going to be game.
100%. This
Donghee
might be pretty close. Anyways, this is a tough. What we
looks
have
like a
here?
flash
Oh, a
being played to a
flash.
red break ground.
Oh, when you don't have Starvo, just get more action points.
So this is going to be 7 Go Again.
Yep, he's going to present 11 damage and take his whole hand.
And it
And
looks
he's
like Tyler's
just,
just throwing the whole
yep,
hand right now.
yep,
And that's
GG's.
gonna be game, folks.
Yeah,
Throwing the
the
Cliff Suede hides at him
Suede
early
Hides
on.
block.
That is gonna be the game, folks. So we have Donghee from West Coast, Best Coast going up one
A
nothing
2-0 on the
on
season, huh?
2-0 for Donghee. And yeah, West Coast, Best Coast up one nothing on Indy Arsenal. Um, a good place to start, but once again, West Coast, Best Coast did manage to go up one nothing last uh, last week as well before they fell. That was 4-1 to Team Blue Pitch. So off to a good start for West Coast, Best Coast, but still, the series is still in anybody's hand right now. I think it is not just it is far from decided right now. What did you think, Pat?
I think that as as the games become more developed, I am hard pressed to want Viserai in its current configuration to go up against Starvo. I just uh don't think the classic OTK plan is enough. It might be the only thing that you can do effectively against Starvo, but the more and more that we see these matchups, you're really I feel like Viserai is more and more dependent on a low roll, so to speak, of Starvo to keep cards in hand and develop the rune chance. Um, I'd like to see these players start exploring some other avenues. I don't know. I don't know what the percentage win of like game plan style is going as a tempo strategy. I know it's frowned upon, but uh, I do think if you're on Viserai and you see Starvo, uh, you're you're probably feeling pretty sad right now. When you see those cards flipped over and see Starvo on the other side, I just think it's too consistent, it's too disruptive. The card pool is too great, and you just saw that even in like a less than ideal Starvo situation, where you didn't get the activations early on, you can just disrupt. You can pummel. You can pummel them to death, take their cards out of their hand, and stop them from executing their game plan. And that's what you saw. I think Viserai had a shot until Donghee just went wild with all those that mid game stretch just really solidified what was going to happen there, and like we had talked about, that late game activation just puts the stamp on it. um I gotta think that Donghee did get some inspiration from Hamilton, and I think we're seeing the I don't know if it's its final form here in Starvo, and maybe quite literally with the ban list coming up, but this more defensive shell that really doesn't need doesn't need the reveals to be effective, but just makes everything so much better. Right? Starvo is Bravo and Oldham. If you want to play Showstopper or play Oldham, you just put Starvo in there, because it's a strict upgrade, and that defensive style with the ability to overwhelm your opponent with the Starvo reveal, uh, is just gravy at this point. So,
Yeah,
uh,
exactly. And it's going to be yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what LSS does on May the 2nd here, because this is just
mhm.
another classic example of Starvo Starvo doing Starvo things, and it being too much for the opponent to deal with. Um, Mind you, this matchup though is very much based on who can find that game first, whether it be the Starvo or the Viserai. This time around, we saw the Starvo take it, but that I think a heads up Viserai. And not to say that Tyler wasn't one, because I think Tyler was more so the victim of not finding the hands he needed, and then just too late, it being too little, too late, and um, but if you find the cards when you need them, and you Viserai can take that match as well handedly, and this time around it went to the Starvo. That's how it goes.
Do you
We did
think
have.
that there was do you think there might have been a point in that game where Tyler might have been better off transitioning away from his original game plan? When he was at that stretch. So we had that stretch early. We early on, Donghee had the first couple hits, and then it seemed like they were both kind of struggling to find what they were looking for. And then at one point, Tyler got his rune chant generation into the double digits, and then kind of again went into the tank a little bit, and eventually spurted out a couple more to get into, like, he got to 18 and then got the incantations. But do you think that he would have benefited uh potentially from that, instead of doing that second sonata for free, maybe going off early and then trying to uh maybe go into a tempo plan from there? Or do you think that this was strictly the way to go? Generate your rune chance, try to find your Sonata number three, and hope for the best there.
That's really tough to say, because then you're speculating on what's the Sonata going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder if maybe the play was to try to maybe sit on, because it was Tyler was pretty quick to give up two Sonatas and two becomes, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe prioritizing getting one of those into Arsenal would have given Tyler an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity once he needed it, and that's starting to get a little later into the game portion of the slugfest as it was.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, I think that probably in hindsight was Tyler's play, to probably try to take one of those cards and get it in Arsenal. However, not being able to see the hands exactly as Tyler saw them, it's tough to
Yeah.
say exactly where and when that was.
I
Uh,
do think there's something to the there is a benefit to having the Mordred available, and he did have, I don't know how long he had it in his hand there, but to you can pop off with less if you have the Mordred on board, right? Your rune chant, I don't know the raw numbers, but if I had between 13 and 18 rune chants, if you had both a Sonata and a Mordred, I would be comfortable popping off the Skeleton for the plan there, because that Mordred, and obviously dependent on the variance of the Sonata, but you're generating two rune chants per at that point, and you're making up on the back end of that plan through the attacks, the additional rune chants that you would have generated uh anyways there. And it did look like at one point he had both of them pretty close by. um but I do think that's potentially food for thought for the Viserai players out there. It does seem like Starvo's clock is, I've talked a few times about how, Starvo provides Viserai a clock, and it feels like that clock is getting shorter and shorter. And I think, Mordred and Sonata is definitely one of the routes that you can go to try and mitigate some of that.
for sure. But uh, yeah, no, it's spot on. We did have two other matches lined up for you guys tonight, but unfortunately those fell through. So that
We
will.
hold that thought. We might have a resurgence of one of them.
Oh,
Um, we have uh, yet to be confirmed. We may be back on for the late match from the Clout Chasers. I am getting in touch with Maxim right now to follow up, but his match was postponed. I do believe that he has some exciting family things happening. It turns out they may have thought that they were happening tonight, and it turns out it might not. So he did message me. So I am reaching out to him. So we may have one more,
All right.
a
Well,
little bit here.
so for that one, your best place is going to be to keep your eyes peeled on the Combat Chain Twitter. We will update as soon as we know if that match is happening or not. In the meantime, we do have some action for you guys tomorrow. We do have Nathan Fortin taking on Michael Hamilton at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, and then we have Andrew Podleski taking on Michael Trion at 4 p.m. East or 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. So that'll be some hot flesh and blood action, and it'll be those will be the matches we'll be looking to to
It's-
kind of
I'm sorry. That's definitely one way to put it. It's the hot flesh and blood action. I love it. I love it.
yeah, when you put it that way. Uh, but
We're
until then,
passionate about our content here at the Combat Chain.
we certainly are.
It
But
tickles us in the funny parts.
until then, though, that is going to be Adam and Pat signing off, and we are closing the pod.
Closing the Combat Chain. You do. Oh, oh.